Live from Tulsa, Oklahoma, from the House at the River Studios, it's the Tulsa Sound Podcast, Episode 1, with Mr. Eric and Oscar Padron. Hello. Is this my lawyer? Yeah. Some jerk is playing my song on... Yeah. Do something about it. Thanks.
And just like that, we were demonetized, pulled off the air. My mother was taken hostage, sent to a Korean re-education camp, and all my toenails were removed instantaneously. The technocracy.
Terry Dyckman taught me to play those piano licks like
Terry Dyckman. Tell us about Terry Dyckman.
Well, Terry Dyckman is a fabulous pianist here in the Tulsa area. And I used to work with him at Music Sound World.
Now, is he 10 inches tall?
No.
He is not a 10-inch pianist. The comedy is flowing tonight, folks.
Yeah, no. Anyway,
Sorry about that. I'll be leaving after the show.
Well, anyway, it's a really fun band. We don't really get to play out a whole lot. We've broken back to a trio now since Elena had to leave us. Maybe someday she'll come back to Tulsa and we'll all be back together. But in the meantime, we learned to do the songs that we can still do. I mean, I'm not going to sing "I'm Just a Girl," but there are some of the songs that we picked up. We do. We have a full set of blues. We have a full set of we virtually have a full set of Rolling Stones.
What was the name of that song we just listened to a little bit of?
The name of that song was Learn to Fly. It was written by Jim.
What's the story about that song? What was the inspiration?
One would assume that he would do anything for his love up into including killing and all that sort of stuff that it talks about in the song.
Whoa, that just took it to a whole new level.
Well, it's a song about obsessive compulsive love, and for me, a lot of these songs, I know a lot of the technical stuff because I was right there.
Yeah.
And that song was fun because it had a real free piano part in it. That is an instrument that I've started to learn in the last few years. It was the first time that I really played a track, and I felt like I was really doing something good. It didn't sound like, oh gosh, I wish he hadn't put that on there.
Yeah, and so you learned that part from the pianist we were talking about before I made that terrible joke, and his name was?
Terry Dyckman.
Terry Dyckman. Shout out Terry Dyckman.
Yeah, now that my buddy here is... Oh, I'm sorry, Terry.
I'm sorry as well.
Just like another friend of mine, Terry, another Terry that worked at Music Sound World, Mr. Terry Cooper, who I just ran into a couple of
Shout
days
out
ago.
to Terry Abel, prop master at the Tulsa Opera.
It's all things Terry tonight.
All things Terry.
And, of course, John Terry with SRO Productions, one of my good friends, and former guitar player of Talisman, another Tulsa band. And we will have...
Who are the Talisman?
Who are the Talisman?
Yes.
No, Talisman. One word. Talisman was one of the many prog rock bands here in Tulsa in the 70s and early 80s. That's, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, viewers, that's what I am. I'm like the historian for the 70s and the 80s. Because that's the time that I was musically active here in Tulsa before taking my dream walk to the West Coast, to the East Coast, and home again.
I see.
So, long story short, there were a number of prog rock bands that were around back then that had sounds sort of like Genesis at the time, or Yes, or other groups kind of like that.
Sure.
And somehow or another I ran sound for them or knew them all because... The only people that would come to the gigs were other prog rock musicians. So I've been to all the gigs. And we used a place that these bands used to get to play was the Ridge Runner Skate Park at 13th and Memorial.
I remember that place.
Yeah.
I remember that place. You drop right into the bowl.
Man,
people didn't even know how to skateboard in Tulsa, Oklahoma back then.
That was a skate park.
It was the real deal.
It was bowls made by a company that made skating bowls.
12-foot drop straight to the bottom, 10-foot drop, whatever it was, straight to the bottom. I never had enough guts to get in there. We'd go to that place and we'd play video games.
Man, my
not have
sister
the
was
courage
out
to
there.
go outside.
My sister would be out there knocking it down, but we played in that place several times.
Wow.
And so anyway, it's all things Terry, but we were going to
All things
listen
Terry,
to some other
and we just
music
heard
here.
some.
Let's listen to good old Jason.
Absolutely. This is actually not Jason. This is Jacob Tovar. And the song is called 3 Good Reasons. And is featured highly in a Netflix series. We are proud of Jacob Tovar as being a member of the Tulsa South community. He does roots country. Some folks call it red dirt. I call it good boogie.
Oh boy. Oh no. I'll tell you, he's the friendliest guy in the world. I'm a very shy person when I go to a club. I've been told that, I'm one of those guys that kind of hides back in the shadows. It's just me. But I mean, he came over and stuck a hand in front of me. Hi, I'd like to meet you. And I'm like, why?
He's a good guy.
But he was a good guy.
He is a good man. I've never heard a crossword about Jacob Tovar, and you never will. He's a good guy. He's a good kid. We're very proud of him. This guy needs to be out on the road doing it big right now. He needs to be out there yesterday. That band is ripe and ready for the road. They do not need rehearsal. They do not need a producer. They do not need 15 people dressing them and telling them what to do, what to say, and how to sing and play. They are fucking ready. They are ready for bigger than what is available for them in Tulsa. We stand behind that here at the Tulsa Sound Podcast.
We're standing behind that. It's our guarantee.
Man, these boys are good. That's Cooper on guitar. Man, that kid's good.
Well, that is something else. Great sounds.
It's a great song. It was originally written as 3 Good Reasons for Leaving Houston. This song was adapted for the Tulsa area. A shrewd move by Jacob Tovar. And I want to thank him for just having the guts to do something like that.
And that song is over, Oscar. It's just like all good country songs. They're real short.
Roots country. Roots country to the bone. The boy's from western Oklahoma. He was raised right. He is part Hispanic. The guy is just better and better. The more I find out about him, the more I like Jacob Tovar. And one day we plan on having him on the podcast. Jacob, this is your invitation. I'm very excited. I'm glad I've got to know you. I'm glad I've gotten to meet you. And
come on down to the studio at the
Your
river.
music, I can put it on when I'm having a rough day, and it just makes me feel better. Guys, Jacob Tovar will do that for you too. So check him out. Go see Jacob Tovar. He's playing around town. He has got a fabulous band. He has got one of the best stand-up bass players I've ever seen. This is Jacob Tovar's album. Jacob Tovar and the Saddle Tramps. Go out and see Jacob Tovar. Find him.
It says on the script sound effects. It says in the script sound effects. Is that good?
This is great. This is great. That is actually the sound I make when I put on shoes. And that's the sound Eric makes when he puts on shoes.
What's our next song here on the Musical Hit Parade, Oscar?
Here we are at the Tulsa Sound Podcast. And
what track number is that going to be, friend?
It's going to be track number 7.
We're gonna play track 7.
This is
man, this machine
song
and these
by
buttons.
Brandon Jenkins, a good friend of mine, to Sand Springs in Tulsa. An amazing individual, amazing singer-songwriter. And here's a little Brandon Jenkins for you.
Grew up poor on an old dirt lot. Half a mile from the nearest blacktop, my daddy got a Jeep, used to be a landfill. He helped to buy it on the GI Bill. Life was slow on the reservation. They're on the edge of the Sac and Fox Nation, watching the cars go by as the sun went down. And I dreamed about a life far away from this red dirt town. Remember the day I turned 18. I hitched a ride to the Dairy Queen. It was right across the street from
This song is a true story.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a true story. Back in the old days, Greyhound had a bus deal. You could ride the Greyhound bus anywhere in the country for $75. From anywhere. You could go from Miami, Florida to Seattle, Washington for $75. So a lot of people made cross-country trips for $75 back in the day. And Brandon did that. He got on a bus out of Sand Springs, Oklahoma, and went to L.A. Guitar case in hand, heart full of dreams and hope. Bringing the Tulsa sound and red dirt music to L.A.
I was headed for the promised land. The big cities where I'd make my stand. By the time I reached the coast, I was gathering dust. 3 long days on a Greyhound bus. But the grass didn't seem as green as it did on the movie screen. No streets of gold were boarded up and run down. I miss my life back home in the red dirt town.
Brandon was a soulful man. He was a protest singer. Brandon sang from the heart. He wrote earnest songs about real people. Brandon Jenkins once said to me, "There's 2 kinds of music, Oscar. There's kinds you like and the other kind." And that was his perspective as a fan that viewed him. He said, this is what he said. He said, this is what people say, Oscar. He said, people have, there's only 2 kinds of music, kinds you like and the other kind. And he always kept that in mind about his audience. That was the gist of it anyway, is that there was only 2 types of music, the kinds you like and the other kind. And so he kept that in mind when he wrote songs within the genre that he performed best in. And we know that now as red dirt music, part of the Tulsa sound. Brandon paved the way for a lot of people. We call him the red dirt legend for a reason. And tonight we celebrate Brandon. Talk about Brandon. We encourage you to go out and find Brandon Jenkins records.
Hold that album
Everybody on this record is out there doing it today and playing around town. David Teagarden Jr. on drums. We have Soup Bone, the magical Soup Bone, one of the most underrated guitar players in town, is a guitar player on this album. And find Mr. Joey playing the bass. I have to get my readers out here because I'm old. But anyway, Brandon Jenkins, lead vocals, Soup Bone on lead guitar, Joey Trevino on the bass, and David Teagarden Jr. on drums, Brian Lee on keyboards, and Jared Tyler plays the lap steel. Brandon Jenkins, Down in Flames album. We're talking about it tonight on the Tulsa Sound Podcast. My name's Oscar Padron, and this is Mr. Air.